If you watch this on YouTube, you probably already guessed it. I am, of course, talking about keyboard layouts. And, well, before Rust people start attacking me that I am going after Helix, actually, no, this is an issue with all terminal text editors, and I will demonstrate it on actually NeoVim. Yeah, so if I open NeoVim here, just let me demonstrate the issue. I go into insert mode, and let's say I want to write a letter to my babushka. And of course, she doesn't speak English, so I will type it in Russian, right? So, hello, my dear grandma, right? So I'm, I'm done. And then I decide to, actually, I don't want to say hello. I want to say something else. And then I try to go back into normal mode and it doesn't work. Right, so I am pressing Control left bracket, and see here I have like an input display. It's like a little bit scuffed, but you can kind of see that this is a control, right? So I'm pressing left bracket, physical keyboard key, but NewVim for some reason inserts Russian h. Why is that? So if I press escape, like actual physical escape, and I try to navigate backwards by pressing H, you can also see that nothing happens. NewVim just doesn't work. Only if I go back to English layout, now I can do stuff, right? So this is what I mean. And yeah, so this is not an issue with only Helix. This is not an issue with only NeoVim. This is actually an issue with all terminal programs. So why is that? The reason is that terminal text editors, or for the matter of fact, all terminal programs that don't do any sort of special operating system hacks, they don't actually have an ability to see what physical keyboard keys you are pushing on your keyboard, because your text editor is not a native program. It is a terminal program. The program that receives physical keys is your terminal emulator. In my case, it's Alacrity, but it's absolutely the same with Ghosty or any really other text editors. Sorry, terminal emulator. So terminal emulator will receive actual physical keyboard keys, and then it has to adhere to this VT100 standard, whatever it's called, and it will pass in actual characters to your terminal program as if the user would type them into the terminal themselves, right? And so your text editor, instead of receiving physical keyboards as registered by an operating system, your terminal emulator, sorry, it's 1 a.m., right? I'm recording this. Your text editor receives characters from the terminal emulator as if your terminal emulator would literally just pipe them into it. And that's why text editor have no way, well, no reasonable legal way to know which key you actually pressed, and so it kind of has to guess based on some kind of a hard-coded set of bindings it has. So for example, NeoVim knows that letter H is left, letter L is right, and it's not physical L and H keys. It's actually ASCII letter H and ASCII letter L, which in different keyboard layouts exist on different places. And so we have this issue in Helix where not a Russian, but a German user complains about the same pretty much stuff. And the workaround is, oh, you can maybe remap like umlaut to the same key binding, can have two different key bindings for the same action. And that's actually the only reasonable workaround text editor have. So for example, what does NeoVim offers? Well, NeoVim has this lang map feature, right? So this thing, which allows you to set a language map for each character to your native language, so that when you are in insert mode, or I guess in normal mode, your key codes get mapped to English and they sort of work. Why they sort of work? Because this thing it's really brittle. So let me actually show you, right? So prepare for the flashbang. So here's new Vim documentation for Russian language, and they actually give you the lang map you need to assign for the thing. So if I copy it and let me actually paste it, and it has to be on one line, and then I'll just paste it here and I apply it. Now I have this lang map. And now if I go to insert mode and start writing in Russian and press escape, I can actually press, so this is me pressing Russian letters and it kind of sort of works, right? But if I go back to insert mode and I try to press escape with control left bracket, you see it still doesn't work. Because, well, first, the letter H, it's not mapped in this official lang map to left bracket. And second, there's actually a bunch of issues with it. Wait, this is new Vim source code. This is also new Vim source code. And this is new Vim source code. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. And no, this is also not it. Well, maybe yeah, I guess that's the one. And yeah, this is the issue I was talking about, improved lang map for non-English keyboards. And it's 10 years old, and there are people kind of discussing what sort of workarounds they can add, you know, to maybe handle more of these cases, more of the edge cases for more languages. And it's kind of discussion, and right at some point, the issue kind of died. The thing is, this particular design flow, it's literally unfixable. I guess unless you violate all of the, you know, security best practices and start reading inputs directly from the kernel, which you actually can do, right? If we go look at this is Linux kernel source code. It is you can see user include Linux. This is input key codes.h, and Linux sends you these scan codes. These are actual physical key codes. Like they're called KQ QWERTY 4 kind of QWERTY keyboard layout, but no matter in which keyboard layout you are, you will always receive these consistent key codes. And so actual GUI programs, right? So if you open gedit or kwrite or even Visual Studio Code, they don't care about your keyboard layout. Their hotkeys just work because they have this information, unlike terminal text editors. And what do we have if we only have terminal? Well, we have these kind of brittle workarounds. And interesting that this issue, better support for international keyboards, was actually closed because there was also additional pull request that basically proposed the same exact workaround as a NeoVim case, right? So just literally map Russian letters to like English letters, and let's hope whatever Russian uses the keyboard doesn't have like Dvorak layout where everything is mixed up, right? So, and this was actually closed in favor of Helix becoming an Emacs. So there was no other way for Helix to fix this issue as to switch to a Lisp configuration language so that maybe plugin developers can handle this issue somewhat automatically, right? This is what kind of level of effort we're talking about. And everything is because terminal programs don't have a way to know physical key presses on your physical keyboards. That's why the title, yes, it is an evolutional dead end. It is unreliable, but I guess if you only care about English language and if you don't speak any other language, you don't even notice it. So yeah, that's the video. Yeah. Uh, if you want to learn how to get actual physical keyboards, physical key, I can record a tutorial, but I don't know, maybe sometime later. Anyway, thanks.